If you were at all outstanding, you always it's always a hater. And so listen. Sometimes a nigga can bring the hater out of you. No one is above this demon. All right. Bad places, those are demons. Okay. And you invite like you know what demon y'all all be getting caught up with? The sugar demon. Listen, the sugar demon. I gotta cast this nigga out. Because when you do certain things, the sugar demon is like, well, you ate a lot of them cookies. You must want me to be here. So everything that comes along with me in this goddamn sugar, the more you have, I'm assuming you want this whole thing. It's like the liquor. They call it spirits for a reason. What happens? The more you engage in with alcohol in the way that where you don't recognize it that's poisoning you, the more it takes over your life. It's like a demon because it takes a hold of you and you lose control of yourself. And I mean, and you're not able to act in your best interest. That's crazy. So can never get caught up in shit like that. But anywho, what Ag is talking about is basically the support that Shannon Sharpe should be getting given his relationship with Stephen A. Smith. We're gonna go ahead and bring it back, and let's go ahead and hear Ag.
When that woman came out against Jay-Z and Rock Nation, Stephen A. Smith vehemently said that woman was not telling the truth and actually defended. Remember that. Defending Jay-Z. But a nigga he do a show with all the time. A nigga who is, that's Uncle Shay Shay. The unmitigatable. When it came time for you, he don't like how you handled it. Just remember that. Maybe he just knows Jay-Z better than you. I would probably guess no. When that woman came out against Jay-Z and Rock Nation, Stephen A. Smith vehemently said that woman was not telling the truth and actually defended. Remember that. Defended Jay-Z. But a nigga he do a show with all the time. A nigga who is, that's Uncle Shay Shay. The unmitigatable. When it came time for you, he don't like how you handled it. Just remember that.
First and foremost, let's go ahead and get into that, right? Black man, you black men out there, and also maybe okay. Listen, if you're not black watching, welcome. Okay, it's not only for like Negroes and whatnot. If you can get something out of it, I want you to get something out of it too. But let me explain something to you. Black men and men in particular, especially when you are masculine, because when you're masculine, you are more benevolent. What benevolent? I can't say that word, but you don't look to make bad things happen. So what men have realized over the course of time is that being more peaceful leads to longer and healthier lives, right? And if you think about it, for the most part, human beings are not really. They can be confrontational, but nowhere near as confrontational as we could be, right? And which is one of the reasons why a lot of human beings have pent up aggression, and that's why human beings love to grasp onto any opportunity to shit on someone, i.e., the 7-Eleven person. You know what I'm saying? All that shit. So, and we saw, like I said, I pointed out, we saw the Drake and Kendrick thing, because again, you got to realize when you're doing well, you are someone's Goliath. The David and Goliath story is a very one-sided story because you got to realize that like this person was very important to that community, to the armed forces they had. You know what I'm saying? You know how fly it is to say, nigga, I got a giant. What the fuck, nigga? What's good?
Your body. If you love me, let me get your body.
I got a giant. What do you have? You got trolls, nigga? You got Shreks? Tell you something. There was a lot of people who fuck with Goliath over there. You feel me? And listen, Goliath was tall. He was swollen shit. You know the bitches love Goliath. Goliath had mad hoes. You feel me? But in that story, King David is the one who wins because he's a smaller person and he's managed to somehow topple this giant, even though this giant is stronger and better and more efficient in every way. But in real life, King David or David does not doesn't beat Goliath with a fucking slingshot. First of all, the rock you going through, I don't know, no. But that stories like that, people like that. They like the kind of story because they like the idea that, excuse me, even though I don't have all the advantages, but it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But sometimes what it does is it makes you have less appreciation for people who are amazing at what they do. And when you do that, you're not able to, for one, learn from that person effectively. I wasn't able to like really start coming down once I really understood and respected how people who take really good care of themselves, how they eat, and stop saying, well, I'm not going to do that. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, yeah, nigga, that's why you don't have the same results because you're not doing all that or you don't want to do all that. No, in order to have amazing results or above average results, you have to be willing to do above average work. All right, you have to be willing to work at something tirelessly every single day. My nigga, I work at this content shit every day. I need to be putting in more hours. I can't wait till I have more time. I can't wait to start making more money so I can put way more time into my content. I can't wait till this is all I'm doing. I got so many ideas to give y'all. You feel me? I'm gonna be doing this hyperbolic time chamber like rap shit. Where I'm about to give like mad concept. But what I want to be doing is performing those albums. You know what I'm saying, and giving y'all visuals like that to start off with, so that it fits. You know what I'm saying? It's like an episode you're listening to. But anyway, I want to get close to that. But anyway, but going back to the whole aspect of how black men are always around a hater. So Ag is making a really valid point. You have a relationship with this man. And in moments like this, black men don't be surprised. Don't overlook this shit. This is hate. This is someone who is preying on your downfall because you got to realize that Shannon Sharpe is doing everything that Skip can do. Skip is not charismatic enough, you know what I'm saying? And Skip does not have the same on camera presence and appeal that Shannon does. All right, black man always the prize. You gotta understand. Like, listen, when you in shape, you know what I'm saying, and you look, especially with Shannon being a whole senior, Shannon a whole senior out here. You know what I mean? Shannon is really living his best life. And it wasn't until I got older I realized like how much people hate on an older dude who can bag young women or he can get young women or get access to young women. And Angry Man was making a good point the other day, earlier today when he was talking about the same thing. He was saying there's never been a time in the history of men where older men, he didn't specify in saying older wealthy men, but just in general, where older men didn't date young women or weren't married to young women, right? And I remember I was saying like, yo, like my grandfather was about 17 years older, like about almost 20 years older than my grandmother, when they got married. And my grandmother describes him as TK was still in his prime. TK was extremely strong and he wasn't because my grandfather was in his 40s when they had got together. And with that, what I'm saying, grandma never had to pay no bills. You know what I'm saying? She never you never had to worry about where she was gonna live at. She never had to live in no really bad area. Okay. Before that, my grandmother and my grandmother from the projects in Brooklyn. All right. So my grandfather had her out here in New Jersey in a house. All right. We grew up in a house. My grandfather did that. You understand? Um, my grandmother was able to really. She always talks about how like she didn't have to go to work. She chose to get a job. And it was the best thing that she could have did because she had that good job, and that's one of those examples how when you do something and you do the right thing, how that can benefit your family for generations because a lot of us have perhaps worked at the job that she worked at. You know what I'm saying? Like my aunt, like two of my aunts, my uncle-in-law, myself. I feel like it's one more. You know what I mean? But that helped us, know this is a good decision. I know that I should go here, and I'm glad I did. But anywho, but going back to the hater that's in your bed and the hater that's in your circle, right? And who knows? Maybe Shannon knows that he get hated. But I ain't gonna lie. Look at Stephen A. Smith. He do have the face and the hairline of a hater. You gotta realize this is what niggas don't be wanting to admit. Not all dudes who ain't that handsome can deal with not having that kind of appeal. Stephen A. Smith comes across as someone that where he knows that he doesn't really have like physical appeal. Like he's one of them kind of niggas. You know how like with Jim Jones, no matter what Jim Jones do, he gonna always have a scruffy look. Like you can't clean Jim Jones up. I don't know why. You just can't. If you put Jim Jones in a suit and shave his face and give him a hair somehow, one way or another, I just feel like the haircut and everything would just morph. Or it just somehow it just would still be scruff or still be and all that, right? But it's the same thing with Stephen A. Smith. There's nothing you can do to make this nigga physically appealing, especially for a talk show. You know what I mean? It's like I say, and again, and he not in bad shape, and ain't not really wrong with the nigga. He just not. It's not. He doesn't have that kind of appeal. All right, and so yeah, man, that shit is nasty work. So let's go ahead and play that next drawing from let's see what Mace got to say.
Stephen A. He didn't stand with Shannon Sharpe like he stood with Jay-Z. When he heard about Jay-Z, he said, the guy I know, this is not true. When it came to Shannon, he was like, I wasn't there.
In a nutshell, yeah.
I gotta keep it static, you know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't there for Jay-Z neither. Word, you wasn't there for Jay-Z. You were not there for Jay-Z, but you went out on a limb because of the character of guy you know. So I'm not saying that you're wrong for that. I'm saying I would have thought that the same standard would be.
Now we gotta let me speak a little bit more to this. Let's call a spade a spade. You see, everybody, this is why I say all these motherfuckers phony. This is why you got no friends in this industry. People are always trying to judge a situation, wondering if you're completely done.
Stephen A., he didn't stand with Shannon.
On the other hand, when his legal team issued out the press release on X yesterday, and they spoke about, they mentioned her name, and they revealed some of those explicit text messages, that was uncomfortable. And I don't know if that's a strategy that would work. One of the hardest things in the world.
Yo, not you hearing him like moving the spit around his mouth while you talking.
All of us to do is to just lay low and be quiet. And let our legal team do it. And we don't always know whether or not that's the right thing to do. On the other hand, when his legal team issued out the press release on X.
Yeah, man, that's definitely the hairline of a hater. All right, he has a hater hairline. I don't know if you can see it now. Maybe I make it a little bigger. Pause. Yeah, that's a hater's hairline. That hater showed up with his hairline. He got through by a hair's breadth. I can still hear his breath. This nasty work, King. I also wanted to show something else. I thought it was kind of interesting. This clip from when Shannon Sharpe had Cat Williams on there.
Other women. But I'm not going to act like I'm not scared of them. I have a reason to be scared. You could be Kang the Conqueror, and they could take your rabbit ass down in 2 weekends. And that's the truth. The truth. I don't want to get with a white woman because I was scared. She might have me running down the street like Jonathan Majors.
There you go. Come on, cat.
Not because I didn't like white women. I think white women are as great as any other women. But I'm not going to act like I'm not scared of them. I have a reason to be scared. You could be Kang the Conqueror, and they could take